UFC Qatar goes down in just a couple of days, and I'm here to give you my pick for every single fight on the card. We're going to start with the first fight of the night, make our way up all the way to the main event, and once we've done that, I will go ahead and rank each and every one of my picks on a confidence level from least confident to most confident, starting with number 14, going all the way to number 1. Before we do that, just got to remind you, picks and bets are very different. If you want to check out my bets, hop in the Home of Fight Picks Premium membership. Use code HeyJive. Get you a 5-day free trial. Let's hop into the fights. First fight of the night, we got some low-level heavyweights. These guys should be fighting on Dana White's Contender Series. And in my early picks video, we did not have odds. And I also had not really done much research on this fight. But after I did do some research on this fight, I feel pretty confident in saying Denzel Freeman should be the favorite, and he should win this fight. Marek Bujlo has fought absolute cans. I'm pretty sure every single win in his professional career, his opponents have been flagged by Tapology for illegitimate bouts or illegitimate fights. Like, these are probably fights that these guys are throwing intentionally, and they're going out there and acting. And honestly, from what I've seen from Bujlo is the guy is not even... He's not a confident striker whatsoever. He's a BJJ guy at heavyweight. His takedowns suck, and he's going up against the Greco-Roman wrestler. Denzel Freeman's the better wrestler here. He's the better striker as well, and I think he's got much better level of competition. So give me Denzel Freeman to get it done in the first fight of the night. Moving on, Aliev taking on Shamrock. This is a tough one for me because we're in the Middle East, and if it goes to decision, Aliev probably going to have a little bit more love on the judges' scorecards. But I am going to take a shot on the dog Shamrock as my pick because I'm just not impressed with Aliev. All right, I don't think his wrestling is all that great. You know, his top control, I guess, is pretty good. But his fights in the UFC, Rafael Alves was pulling guillotine, so he got takedowns at will because the guy was pulling guillotine. Joe Solecki was pulling guillotine. And his fight on the Dana White Contender Series, the guy went 1 for 6 on his takedowns in round 1. And then the guy just completely gave up after a few ground and pound strikes on the Contender Series. So I just don't think the guy is really all that good, or at least all that proven. And he's only had 2 finishes out of his 10 fights. I don't think he's that good. I think Shamrock's coming in here as a guy that's kind of in his prime. He's 32 years of age, pretty good size for the weight class. And I think his striking is much better. I don't really love his cardio, but I could say the same for Aliev. And I think he's going to be okay in those grappling scenarios. I think he actually might even be the better wrestler, honestly. I don't think Aliev's wrestling is all that great, but he does know how to crotch sniff. He knows how to hold for control time. So if he does get that, he could probably win. But I'm going to take a shot on the dog here. Much older guy. I think he's got better, I should say, more professional MMA experience. I just think he's the more well-rounded fighter in this one. So I'm going to take a shot on Shamrock to get it done over the Tajik Eagle, Mini Habib, or clone Habib, I should say. Let's move on. Naurdiev taking on Ryan Loder. This one's a 50-50, but I am going to lean towards the younger guy with more UFC experience, and a guy that I don't want to say he has like a better trajectory as far as a career goes, but I just think he's probably got more potential to improve his game. He's a little bit undersized for the division, which I don't like, but Ryan Loder, I just don't think he's all that great. I honestly don't think his wrestling is all that great either. You know, he's not really getting takedowns at will on the regional scene. His striking sucks. I don't think his durability is all that great. He looks so uncomfortable on the feet. And one thing I could say about Naurdiev is he's a decent striker, although I don't really like that. I don't really like his cardio. He does tend to flake in some scenarios. The only way I really see this going really poorly for Naurdiev is if he gets taken down and he gets put into that crucifix position where Ryan Loder can drop elbows. Then he's probably going to flake out. But on the feet, I think he's the better striker. I don't think Loder's takedown entries are really all that great, and he doesn't really have anything to set them up. So I'm going to take Naurdiev to get this one done. Younger fighter. More UFC experience. He's coming in here in an area of the world where they're probably going to favor him. So give me Ismail Naurdiev as the slight favorite. Beksad Almakhan taking on Alexandre Topuria. This is an even harder one to call. There's a lot of tough fights on this card to try to figure out who you're really confident in picking. But I'm going to take Beksat Almakhan to get this one done. I just think he's got more professional MMA experience. I think he's fought the better level of competition. And I really rate his just pure athleticism. Like, the dude is an absolute tank. He's got extremely strong hips. I don't really think Topuria is going to come in here and just ragdoll him. I do think Topuria could have success landing his hands, but Beksat's not really a guy that stands in the pocket. He's kind of out at range and then explodes in with big shots. Almakhan could also get some wrestling going here against Topuria. I just think Almakhan is going to be a tough matchup for Topuria, because Topuria is kind of I don't want to say has to have a guy stand across from him to let his boxing go, but Almakhan's speed and footwork, I think, is going to give Topuria some problems to where he can't really land that often. And I think it could be like a slow-paced striking affair that does involve some grappling. I'm going to take the slight favorite here in Almakhan to get it done in his home country or home part of the world as well, near Kazakhstan. Abdul Rakhman taking on Rafael Cerqueira. This one's not going to take long to break down. Give me Abdul Rakhman. Cerqueira's never been UFC level, probably never will be. Should have been cut, but they kept him around to feed up some of these guys that they want to get some wins in the UFC. Abdul Rahman's going to get it done, minus 1,400. Take it. Alex Perez taking on Asu Almabayev. I'm going to go with Asu Almabayev here. It's not with a ton of confidence. Actually, it kind of is. But the only way I really see him losing is if he can't get takedowns, which is a possibility. But with Alex Perez's UFC takedown defense, I don't want to say it's overblown, but I do think he has pretty solid initial takedown defense. But Almabayev is just so good at chaining stuff together, and he's very relentless with it. He doesn't really put himself into bad spots either. There was one guillotine that Nicolau had that I don't know how he didn't finish, but Alex Perez don't got a guillotine or the jiu-jitsu like Mateus Nicolau does. And on the feet, like Almabayev, he doesn't really absorb significant strikes, man. He just doesn't. He's either at range or he's in on your hips. So I feel like it's going to be hard for Perez to inflict damage here to negate the grappling control or the just overall takedowns that Almabayev is going to be able to land. So I'm going to take Almabayev here. I don't know that it could turn into like some type of back tape to a submission, because Perez has been finished a good amount of times, especially with the choke. So Almabayev's the pick. I think he's just got way more ways to win, and Alex Perez is coming off a long layoff and a bad knee injury. So I can't expect him to come back here looking better than ever. Let's move on. Nicholas Dalby taking on Saeed Izagakhmaev. I'm going to go with Izagakhmaev to get this one done. I do understand, why the line has come down a little bit. It's going to be tough to doubt Nicholas Dalby because he's got heart, he's got pace, he's got cardio, but he's 41, coming off his first career knockout loss, which was brutal, got his nose broken, and then got flatline KO'd. I don't think Saeed is a big knockout puncher, but I do think he's probably going to be able to land some shots in the striking. But overall, it's going to come down to the takedowns, which I think he's probably going to be able to get. If he gasses out, like, he's in trouble. But I do think he probably gets it done. Give me Izagakhmaev here to get it done. In the Middle East, again, Bogdan Grad taking on Luke Riley. This is a very tough one for me because I was leaning towards Bogdan Grad based off the Cage Warriors fade. And I watched a lot of tape on Luke Riley. And I do think there are some holes. I think the guy is a little bit weak, I would say. Like he's kind of here and there with his takedown defense, but there's not really a lot of great grapplers going on in the Cage Warrior scene. So I don't really think he's faced anybody that's going to be a great grappler. And I'm not saying Bogdan Grad is some amazing grappler. He's actually not really that great of a wrestler, but he's relentless with it, so it does work. And I think that's probably what he's going to try to do here to Luke Riley, because if he just stands across from Luke Riley's going to be a lot faster, puts his combinations together better, and he's probably more durable. Like, Luke Riley can take a shot, and he can give a shot. But I do think Grad's going to mix in some grappling. I expect Grad to have some success with his takedowns early on, because Luke Riley seems like when early in the fight, like, his takedown defense isn't really that great, but as his opponent starts to tire out, then he starts to take over. So I'd see this fight going where Bogdan Grad is having some success, but then Luke Riley is starting to stuff some of these takedowns, get to the feet, unleash some combinations. Damage starts to inflict. Maybe he gets a late TKO or wins a damage-based decision if it goes to the scorecards. But I'm going to take Luke Riley here. I wouldn't play minus 250, though. I wouldn't play it, dude. Grad is a dog, but he's just not really the most skilled. And those are the guys that can beat these UFC debuters. But I do think Luke Riley is skilled enough and is fast enough and has enough cardio to deal with what Grad's going to bring him. So give me Luke Riley for the pick. Tajir Ulanbekov taking out Kyoji Horiguchi. I'm going to go with Tajir to get this one done. Kyoji's 35. I don't think he's washed, but I don't think he's able to use his complete skill set anymore. It seems like he's grappling more and more often in his most recent fights, because when he's on the feet, he's constantly getting like wobbled or getting stunned by shots. And it's not really like Tajir is some big knockout puncher, but he is a long striker that has a lot of weapons. He's got knees. His right hand down the pipe isn't too bad. And his kicks aren't bad either. I think Kyoji's probably going to be, moving around the outside, doing his karate stuff, trying to lunge in with some big calf kicks, with some big overhands. But Tajir's, once he gets a hold of you, I think he's going to have, I don't want to say he's not going to have any problems getting Kyoji to the ground, but I think he's going to be able to get him to the ground. And he's very good with his top pressure. Just a much better grappler, I think, the better top player in this matchup. So give me Tajir to get it done. I think he's got the durability advantage. He's just a winner, man. He's just a winner. And Kyoji, at this point in his career, like I said, he's not washed, but I don't think he's able to be what he once was, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Shamil Gaziev taking on Sergey Spivac. Tough one here. Tough one here. Do I want to go with Blobziev? Not really. Do I want to go with Spivac? Not really. But I will say this. Spivac has fought a lot better competition. And Shamil, like, what has he done in the UFC? I guess his best win is Martin Budai, which, if you look back on that performance, looks pretty dang good. But since then, he's lost to Jairzinho Rosenstrike, ran his forehead into the cage looking for a takedown. Then he out-grappled Dante Mays, okay. Then he knocked out Thomas Peterson. Go back and watch that Thomas Peterson knockout. That shit looked staged. That looked unbelievably staged. Like, yeah, he caught him with a right hand, and it looked like Thomas Peterson went out, but the way he fell and then immediately like took out his mouthpiece and like threw it, I'm like, dude, what? That was weird. Could he knock out Spivac? Yes. He could definitely knock out Spivac. Spivac does tend to flake a little bit, but I don't really think Gaziev is like some crazy knockout puncher that is so fast you never see it coming. Like, I think Spivac could win this one. So I'm going to take Spivac to get it done. He's got the grappling edge here. Gaziev got taken down by Peterson. I just think Spivac's the much better grappler here. And if Gaziev whiffs on a shot, falls into the clinch, he's getting tossed, man. He's getting tossed. He's probably got the better cardio too. The only thing I don't like about Spivac is, like, if things aren't going his way, he'll mail it in. But if he can have his way early, it can snowball. It can snowball, and I don't think Gaziev's going to be able to keep up with that snowballs. I'm taking Spivac here as the underdog. Make the bet Orolbai taking on Jack Hermansson. Unbelievably weird fight. I think Jack Hermansson does have a chance to win. I don't know if this fight's going to happen. I don't know how he's going to make 170. And I don't like anything about it for Jack, for him moving down to 170 after getting brutally KO'd 4 months ago against Gregory Rodriguez. But skill for skill, like, I think Jack Hermansson's probably the better fighter, at least the more proven fighter. I have my worries with Orolbai. I think a lot of people overrate Miktabek Orolbai because when he's at 155, like, he's so much bigger and stronger than these guys. He's able to just ragdoll them. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that at 170. Yes, he did it to Uros Medic, but Medic has always had problems with his grappling, specifically against, like, just really strong takedown artists. But Orolbai's striking defense is pretty bad. He gets hit hard, but he's just got an insanely Neanderthal chin. And his wrestling is okay. It's kind of just the relentlessness of it. And if he gets on top of you, he's pretty strong, can keep that. Hermansson's grappling is good, though, too. So really the only reason why I think I'm taking Orolbai here is because Why is Hermansson moving down to 170? Can Hermansson take a punch? Probably not. Orolbai doesn't have the best striking, but he can crack. And I think Orolbai's speed is going to be able to negate a lot of the advantages that Hermansson had at 185. Very fleet-footed, uses his movement very well. So I think Orolbai, being the 155-pounder, going up to 170, is probably going to be a lot faster. And I think Hermansson, being the older guy as well, is probably going to have some troubles with that. So give me Orolbai to get it done for the pick. Volkan Oezdemir taking on Alonzo Menifield. After watching the tape, I got to go with Volkan to get this one done, man. Oezdemir is a good kickboxer. This dude is good. He is, I don't want to say like one of my favorite kickboxers to watch, but like for like light heavyweight, you don't see guys that are like that clean with their technique. You know, Mirzakhanov probably, you know, Pereira obviously. But for a guy that's like, I don't want to say flat-footed, but a guy that's willing to just, you know, hold his ground and let his hands go, he's sharp with it. Nasty left hook, nice and tight. I could see him hurting Menifield with that left hook here. I just don't think Menifield's striking is very good. You know, he's coming off back-to-back wins against guys that are extremely unproven, and both of them were very close fights. And Oezdemir's fighting the best of the best. You know, he went to a competitive decision with Carlos Ulberg. I understand why he's the favorite now after I go back and watch tape. I did think it was kind of a 50-50 because they're both both guys that are probably going to strike in the matchup. But I think Oezdemir's a lot cleaner, got a lot more weapons. Give me Oezdemir for the pick there. Co-main event, Ian Machado Garry taking on Belal Muhammad. I'm going to take Ian Garry to get this one done. Never been a fan of Ian Garry, but I'm kind of coming around to him. I don't know what's happening, but I'm starting to get on the Ian Garry train here a little bit. And if he can make me some money this Saturday, maybe I'll be more on the train. But I just don't really believe Belal's going to have like another run in him. He's 37. His wins really don't age the best when you think about him. You know, he didn't take down Jack all that often, and look what just happened. The win over Leon Edwards, it was 3-2. Like, it wasn't like a domination for Belal. And I did pick Belal to win that one as well. So, I mean, like, I don't know, man. I think Belal's an overachiever. I think Ian Garry's definitely one of the best welterweights in the UFC and on planet Earth. The guy's footwork is elite. His speed is elite. His game planning is elite. His grappling is getting better. I think he's really good. And I'm going to take him for the pick here. I think he could knock out Belal, but Belal's chin seems like it's just on another level compared to where he was early in his career. But I'll take Ian Garry to get this one done, probably by decision. Could be 30-27. Could just shut him out. Main event, Arman Tsarukyan taking on Dan Hooker. I'm going to take Arman Tsarukyan to get this one done. I don't really think Dan Hooker's going to be able to negate the grappling that's going to come his way. You know, he could do it against Mateusz Gamrot because Gamrot can't really control anybody on the ground. You know, he can shoot takedowns and he can get takedowns, but he can't control you on the ground. And on the feet, he's a little bit chinny, and he doesn't really have any type of pop in his shots at all. And I don't really see Arman Tsarukyan, you know, getting like chinned here. You know, I don't really see it. I think Arman Tsarukyan's athletic ability on the feet far exceeds a guy like Gamrot. And honestly, that was an extremely close fight that Hooker won. And then you look at his other wins. You know, Jalen Turner's was retired. I guess he's coming back. Claudio Poyas, not good. And then before that, he was on a downslope. So, like, he's picked up 3 wins. Cool. But Tsarukyan was supposed to fight Islam for the title. I actually thought Tsarukyan would give Islam a pretty good fight. And this is a matchup where Dan Hooker doesn't like guys taking him down. He's also had his chin issues as well. So I think Tsarukyan gets this one done. Probably finishes him. I'll take it for the pick. All right, let's go to the least to most confident section. We'll start with number 14. We're going with Shamrock at number 14 because if it goes to a decision and Nurullo Aliev is able to get some top position, I could see him losing it. But I just think Shamrock's a little bit more dangerous. I think he's big for the weight class, or got good size for the weight class, I should say. And he's a good grappler. So, I mean, if they're going to be grappling, I think Shamrock should be able to hold his own. Number 13, Ishmael Naurdiev. I don't love that he flakes, but I do think he's the better fighter. He's the younger guy who could still be making improvements. I just don't rate Ryan Loder. Like, I understand he has a wrestling background, but I haven't really seen it translate all that well to MMA. You know, I guess like sometimes it does, But if he doesn't get his takedowns, he does not look very good. So give me Naurdiev at number 13. Number 12 is Beksat. It's a tough one to call, but I'm going to take Beksat because I think his overall skill set is pretty damn good. And I think he's fought the better level of competition. So give me Beksat at number 12. 11 is Luke Riley. I think he's going to lose early on, but I trust his cardio. I trust him to inflict the more damage here and probably be able to deal with the dog that Bogdan Grad is. So number 11 is Luke Riley. Number 10 is Sergey Spivac. If he has his way early, he could definitely take over this fight against Shamil. I just don't know how good Shamil really is, and Spivac's fought the far better level of competition. Number 9, Sergey Izagakhmaev to take out Nicholas Dalby. Dalby's 41, coming off a brutal knockout loss, and his takedown defense has never really been amazing. So I think Sergey probably gets this one done. Number 8, Miktabek to get it done against Jack Hermansson. Probably got some KO upside here. Definitely got some grappling upside. And I think he's just going to be able to negate one of the best things that Jack Hermansson had at 185, which is his speed and his elusiveness. So Miktabek at number 8. Number 7, Volkan Oezdemir, cleaner striker, much better level of competition. Actually, the younger guy, too. Menifield's like 38. And knockout ability, I think Oezdemir's probably got the more KO upside in this one. Menifield can club, but he's just not as clean. So give me Volkan there. Number 6, Tajir to take out Kyoji Horiguchi. Grappling upside. I think he's got the durability upside as well. Kyoji can crack, but I don't know that he can take it at this point in his career. And he's been fighting the much better level of competition. Like, I don't really think Kyoji's competition at all on the regional scene has really been that great. I mean, the guy he lost to Patchy Mix, man. He lost to Patchy Mix, you know? No, I'm kidding. That was up a weight class, and Patchy was on a run at that point, so I can't really hold that against him. And he beat Sergio Pettis, which looks pretty good. But I think Tajir is just going to be able to get this one done with his takedowns. I think he can hurt Kyoji on the feet. And Kyoji, if he's hurt and he shoots a bad takedown or something, like Ulanbekov will throw in that guillotine or ninja choke to get it done. Number 5 is Asu Almabayev to get it done against Alex Perez. Perez, 33, coming off knee surgery, who has had problems with grapplers, especially grapplers that can submit him. I think Almabayev gets it done. By the way, last week, 8 for 8 on the top 8. You know, let's see if we can do it again. Number 4 is going to be Denzel Freeman. I find it very hard to believe that this Marek Bujlo guy is ever going to win a UFC fight. So I'm going to take Denzel Freeman. I don't think Freeman's terrible. I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better wrestler. And his overall grappling is not that bad either. He's fought 2 guys that I think are kind of UFC level. I mean, Asplin is in the UFC. Hugo Cunha has at least been around like the regional, been on the cusp of like getting into the UFC. And Mark Bujlo has fought absolutely nobodies. So Denzel Freeman, number 4. Number 3, Ian Garry to get it done in the co-main. I just think he's gonna put the work on Bilal. If Bilal is able to get takedowns here, like, is he gonna be able to control him? Probably not. Is he gonna hurt him on the ground? Probably not. Is he gonna submit him? Probably not. So even if he does get his advantage in this fight, I just don't really see how he's gonna run away with it. So I think Bilal's best win here would be like a close decision. I think Ian Garry could 30-27. I think Ian Garry could hurt him. Could knock him out, could submit him. Give me Ian Garry, number 3. Number 2, Arman Tsarukyan should be able to dominate Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is far past his prime, but he's had a little resurgence, so he's in this main event spot. It is what it is, but I think Arman Tsarukyan gets his takedown, smashes. Could see a submission, could see a ground and pound, but probably a submission. You know, Dan Hooker's not a guy that's probably going to go out to ground and pound, so probably a submission for Arman Tsarukyan, or he could chin him on the feet. Number 1 is going to be Abdul Rakhman. No explanation needed there. Cerqueira absolutely sucks, and Rakhman is 6-0. Looks like a pretty damn good prospect. So there's the least to most confident. Appreciate y'all for watching. Like the video for me before you go. Subscribe if you're not already. We'll be back here with some more content throughout the week. Appreciate y'all. Till next time. Hey, John Picks. We out.